believe. I couldn't tell you.
Saturday.
We're the dream warriors. We won't dream no more. We're the dream warriors.
Yes.
And
I
maybe
would like to talk
tonight, maybe
Okay,
tonight.
if we must.
Like, we'll talk on this. So, during the pre-interview, somewhat of a confrontational discussion on
Just a tad.
what our role should be in documenting the pop culture so we can talk about it.
Right.
And part of this documentation and monitoring is spoilers.
To an extent.
And your position essentially is, I'll read the spoilers I want to. I'm not going to read them all, despite us having to talk about all of them, possibly.
Right.
Okay. And my counter is just pretty simple. It's we should monitor as much as we can, so we can talk about as much as we can, cause that's our job.
This is true.
Okay.
I feel we could find other things to talk about.
Yeah,
But
like we can, and maybe we'll make that a part of our policy, and which might force us to be a little bit more creative
Right.
with the content. A little bit like how some comedians don't curse, and a lot of their material is a little bit
Well, even some podcasters stay away from
yeah.
spoilers. That's
So-
their whole handle.
I guess if we're really excited about a spoiler, we gotta share it with someone. We'll share it with ourselves.
I mean,
Like,
you know.
Alright, so
Stuff like Darth Vader in Rogue One, it's not really a spoiler. It's taking place between the two. It would be a spoiler to find out he's not in the damn movie.
I just think sometimes it's a and we'll touch on this on something else to where it's just like you're desensitized.
Right.
Spoilers are expected, revelations are expected, but kind of what we were talking about is you made the point of, hey, I may not have enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy as much if I had spoilers. And I said, no, that's 100% true, but spoilers really don't reveal the tone of a movie.
Right.
And that's really what, and I guess for you and I guess Guardians really is like almost like a ground zero movie. It's just this.
Really?
Yeah, I think because we both really enjoy it. Like,
That's the Star Wars of my
like,
generation.
like we both get it. We both like it. Like we just want more of that, and very excited for
Oh yeah.
the
Kurt
Volume
Russell.
yeah, it's
Sylvester Stallone.
Stallone in that. It's still fascinating.
I hope to God he's Dredd. Space Dredd. Let's do it.
What's the rumor with him, or the idea is he's Nova Corps?
I guess the
super-
reports I saw said he was in Judge Dredd looking garb
Right.
on set,
Yeah,
which
and-
just kind of is he cameoing? Is it something stupid? Is he Nova?
How
Is
could
he
they not get Carl Urban as
right?
Judge Dredd?
Oh, don't that's
Like,
that's a sore
what
subject.
States, but what stance is that taken?
What did James Gunn have? Maybe because it's a throwback to the 80s in this one, right? Since the last one was the 70s.
I wouldn't be surprised in just knowing James Gunn. Like, not that we know him, but like
my old buddy,
I do
my
follow
old buddy
him,
Jimmy.
I do follow him on social media. Great account, fantastic Instagram, and I would just with him, I would expect for you to see wreckage or a pile of something, and having like the ABC robot from the Stallone Judge Dredd
Okay.
thrown somewhere. Having like that type of cameo. But I don't know. I think he's got to be Nova Corps.
I mean, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But then you're like, how old is this guy?
right.
Like, can't. But then, like, if they go CGI route with it, or all you really see is his mouth, you don't take off the helmet, maybe it'll work.
Yeah, I think it's.
But he's still old mushmouth Stallone, so.
Yeah. Yeah, Stallone can act though. Stallone has acting chops. And
he just breaks them out once every decade.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, you make two iconic franchises,
Right.
and you weathered the storm of kind of an era that you were one of the forerunners,
Mm-hmm.
like the action movie, blood
Gods.
guts, boobies,
Yep,
like overly sexualized women. Not that I'm complaining. And your rival, like being Schwarzenegger, gets off the reservation, does something else,
Mm-hmm.
comes back and has little significance,
Right.
and you continue on like just what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and you get an Oscar nomination.
Right.
Fantastic
Right.
revivals of both franchises,
Right.
the Rainbow and Rocky Balboa. Both of them are.
Did you see Creed?
Yeah,
Is that good?
I loved it.
Right. On.
Creed is just it's really like everyone wants to say it's just a remake of Rocky and this and that, like to some degree, but at the same time it's like this is that universe, like this is
Right.
the world these people live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, like not black and white, not cookie cutter. Yeah, I love the idea. I don't know if you know too much about the Creed character, the kid in that, but he is kind of like he has a good job,
Okay.
and he's in the position where he doesn't have to box, but he's compelled to box.
Okay.
He's compelled to risk his life. He's compelled to train, and it's that. And so now like that adds to like Apollo Creed and his relationship with Rocky Balboa, to where these are star-crossed lovers. These are two DNA strains like
That are
wrapped
just
together.
meant to
Yeah.
intertwine.
Like with our latest podcast, it's a little bit of that Green Arrow panel in Dark Knight Returns when he says, "I knew it was going to come down to you and Big Blue."
Right. Yep.
Like this was meant to happen. I got a lot of sense of that, and I thought for it updating the Rocky format,
Right.
it was just great. I think every guy, like every dude worth his salt, has a real love for like training montages.
You can't not. It's
I
it's
think-
an American staple in
Yeah,
cinema.
I think you kind of want a training montage in every movie.
It saves a lot of time.
And I think the second to that is a gearing up montage, but you really don't see a lot. There's not too many good ones, but just like packing on the heat,
Mhm.
loading the guns.
I prefer the gearing up montage
Yeah.
over training myself. But
Yeah, you know what's an overrated gearing montage? G.I. Joe Retaliation.
fair enough.
Have you seen that?
That's the second one?
Yeah,
No.
the one with the Rock. Okay, I think it's a great movie, fantastic movie, and there's a gearing up montage where they go to Bruce Willis's house,
Okay.
and he's like, I think he's like Joe Hauser or what? He's like the guy that they named the G.I. Joe program after.
Okay.
So they go to his house and they're like, look, like Cobra took over everything. Like at this point in the movie, Cobra runs the White House.
Right.
They're just like wreaking havoc, and I love it because
Mhm.
it's like a villain-driven movie. And so Storm Shadow is with them. He crosses over, and so they hit the music, gearing up montage, and it's Bruce Willis's house.
Okay.
Okay, and everywhere you turn, there's just like an armory. Like he's got like grenades and like the fruit bowl. Like it's just like the wildest stuff. Okay, and but it literally is like just one of those things where like you open up cabinets and there's like food, but there's like a second panel and it's just like all machine guns. Really cool, and I guess the most hated gearing up montage has got to be Batman and Robin, right?
I would
The
say,
nipples
yeah.
and the crotch.
Yeah.
Like people just always go to that. But
At least we got Alicia Silverstone's in return.
yes, yeah,
Double
get her.
tap.
Yeah. The I guess, or maybe stunt double, but who cares?
Whatever
It could've
happened
been
to her?
stunt double. It doesn't even matter. Yeah. So we hung out last night.
Right. Got some drinks.
and we were able to. So last night was important, I think, for us working together and developing what we have.
Right.
Like this, the Dream Warriors as a product, because, and I don't know if it's alcohol. It might be alcohol.
It's the alcohol.
But we definitely run better in spitballing ideas and positions.
Because everything sounds better when you're drunk.
It really does. It really does. And it was great hanging out because I had like a cancellation.
Right.
This girl flew back from Florida. We were supposed to hang out. She got sick, and I talked to her earlier that day. And she was like, she definitely sounded sick, but she's like, we can still hang out, but what? And I'm like, no, because like I haven't been sick. I haven't been sick for maybe 2 years now. Okay, the last time I got like somewhat sick was during the Panthers Seattle Seahawks championship game for football.
Okay.
And I ate Domino's. I had couple guys over, and I ate Domino's pizza because that's what you do when you're with men. You don't care about cuisine, you just care about Domino's and beer. And I got food poisoning.
I believe it.
And it was, dude.
Every time I order a pepperoni and bacon pizza from Domino's, I'm throwing up that night. Dude, every time, it never fails.
I'm not. No exaggeration. This thing hit me. It literally hit me like a tidal wave.
Oh, I believe it.
And it's the only time I had the effects of food poisoning for more than like the initial session, like the first 8 hours. Like this crossed over the next day.
Ooh.
So I think that was a Sunday. It did cross over to Monday, and I even remember just going around the office, and I still was like bleeding it out. Like still with the diarrhea, still with someone still with the But what else are you going to do during the day?
I don't know, not take salmonella to work with you, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't care,
Hey, everybody's got E. coli, I have bad chicken. Yeah, way to go. Way to go.
But I was the only one of the group that got food poisoning.
Well, you shouldn't eat the wings.
Which is funny. And I think it was like just something that was stuck.
I bet you the delivery guy stink palmed your slice, knowing you didn't tip him. And he just pulled a Brody.
Dude, I tipped these guys so well. They know
he
me.
Confused you with the neighbor
when they see my address get printed out on their ticket and they're like the next one up, dude, they're excited to deliver. They are excited. So we did some bar hopping.
Right.
That was our second straight session of bar hopping. We did it last weekend. We got together last weekend to
didn't record a damn thing.
To do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Well, news was slow.
A cloudy or shittier day.
Weather was bad.
The weather was kind of bad, but we really and we kind of knew going into it.
Mm-hmm.
We knew there was very little
slow news
to talk about. So,
Suicide Squad was still on top.
But we did scour the news. We were actually sitting in this format across from each other, going through everything on the news sites.
Which was nothing.
Yeah, it was, and we just got discouraged. So what we did was we moved my couch to my loft.
Right.
To build out what's going to be called the Astro Lounge.
Yeah.
And the big reason we're doing that is because we're going to build almost like a VHS, VHS
library. I guess.
Library VHS. Idol VHS contribution.
The VHS zone.
Yeah, and we're going to just have an old school television there. We're going to have beanbag chairs, which was your idea. I think that was great. And Christmas lights.
Yep.
And we're also going to double that for shooting some of our VHS stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's part set, part hangout area.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and then we just bounced around.
I proved the drunkards could get up there and not fall last night.
Yeah, I can't believe you did that last night. I was like, oh, God. And
I waited till you weren't looking.
As soon as, I would not have told you because I trust you more than I trust Rachel.
I believe it. That's why I made sure I moved to the edge and helped her up.
But quick side note, I've been trying to find a tension wire railing. So we have options.
Right.
And we're definitely going to mount the railing up there. Once the railing's mounted, it's just going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and the biggest thing you're going to have is coming up, coming down. No big deal. But yeah, that was a little bit of an adventure. Yeah, so last weekend we just kind of, and even when we were like eating cheesesteaks and drinking,
Right.
Because we hopped into this new Irish pub that I'd never been to, but I live near. We were still trying to get ideas,
Right.
and then it really started raining.
Yeah. Yeah. We
It
were.
was like a sheet.
We were in a bad spot there for a little
We're
bit.
almost like round 3.
Keep them coming.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
We're gonna have to Uber 2 minutes down the
yeah,
road.
and you know what, too? I wouldn't even look my Uber driver in the eye. I wouldn't even do it. I hate making those guys drive that short a distance. So yeah, I think last week was a really good example on what the process is.
Right.
And it's really not easy. It's not easy to even come up with things every single week to discuss.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a real strain.
And sometimes we go in, I think today's a session, we're going in with a lot to go over now.
Right.
We stockpile things. We went back and forth all week. There's things we like added out of our own interest. And we're still trying to build out like what the program flow is.
Yes.
The programming aspect. Okay? And even now we have a sheet with everything floored out of like what the top topics are.
Yes.
And yeah, so I guess we already touched on it. We'll jump into one of them now. Is Suicide Squad.
Right.
Because I just feel like we have to talk about it.
I know you're obsessed.
We've had a special edition episode.
Yes.
And
We followed it up with every podcast so far.
yeah.
And we're finally wrapping it up this week, folks.
So, like, do you feel like what's your take on what happened with the box office versus what happened with the initial reviews?
I think they put the movie out at the perfect time, where the competition for an action movie, aside from Independence Day was really not there. There was plenty of comedies, plenty of family movies, but like action was just kind of and the comic book aspect, you tie them together and you got the popcorn crowd won over.
So you really you think
and I think word of mouth helped too, because like I've been telling everybody it wasn't terrible when they asked.
I don't think I told anyone to go see it.
I didn't say go and see it, but
yeah.
when they said how was it, I said it's not as bad as the reviews are making it out to be.
I
just that third act is rough.
I said it. What I said was it was a lot like Batman versus Superman, where I think you and I agreed that the third act
it works until that point.
And who knows, like third act, whatever. But wrapping the movie up,
right?
Finishing the movie
after the middle, when you begin the end, it falls apart. Whether that's technically the third act or not.
So speculating with Suicide Squad, and I think people regardless, kind of pick that movie. Like, there's more that they like than that they don't like.
Well, I mean, it's also, and this is something that we haven't really talked, but it's like the first comic book movie, just like first comic book that's solely focused on the villains for a change.
Yeah, and I really think
I also think that helped.
Yeah. Well, a lot with Guardians, because it gets compared, I think the tone worked throughout the entire movie. Not a lot of people seem to like the beginning, but I love the jump cuts. I like those quick origin.
I thought
things.
It flowed really well in the beginning. It kept my interest. We were moving along,
and it really comes down to from a story position, what happens when they rescue Waller,
right?
Okay. And that's where it was. And I think at that point, people wanted Joker movie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but already they weren't building towards that, because they already set up the Enchantress as being this rogue.
Yes.
Okay. But so they edited out the Joker stuff.
A good chunk,
because
from our understanding.
It's abusive towards Harley Quinn. Okay, and they wanted to shape that relationship differently.
Right.
And I think a lot of people like that though.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was a little bit of a newer take.
Mm-hmm.
And look, if you want one take, watch the animated series.
Right.
Read the comics if you want the abusive side. Okay, and you know what? Too, like in the animated series, yeah, he's more like dismissive of her.
Right. It's out of my face.
Yeah.
More than it's I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
And then like the New 52 is more abusive.
Right.
Okay. So if you want that stuff, so if you sit down to watch a movie, it's good to have it different. Mm-hmm. And they made that choice. But it really I really feel like they did a disservice doing that, regardless of the good reaction. Because I think Leto's Joker,
it was so anticipated,
is a franchise,
and
and this would have been your first villain franchise. Mm-hmm. Now, what they should do is they should throw everything at him.
Yep.
And to get him to do a Joker-focused movie.
Yep. The Harley Quinn movie should just be Joker and Harley running amok.
I think that needs to happen. They have to announce that. Who cares about a Flash movie? There's a Flash TV show. Right.
And I'm sure it's 10 times better than what the movie's going to be.
So, I mean, get rid of the Flash. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Put Harley, Joker, Harley, whatever. The advertising campaign for that should be the Joker Harley movie and the Harley Joker movie.
Right.
It should just be the split advertising
campaign. They should just friggin' do the poster up like that. Joker Empire or Joker Emperor book where it's him on the card because you go just have Joker Harley Joker
like McGinnis art, which is fantastic,
just on a Joker card.
See, and the work he did into the Joker in costume, clothing alone, is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, a part of what the cheat feels like.
Yeah.
Without him, I think you and I always go back and forth about this, but it's really the one that they're calling the boxer Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but that was because you don't even see that in the movie.
No.
You don't even see what he's wearing, and the action figures sell it better than the movie.
Yep.
And even the tattoos.
Right.
You wanted to see them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that the fact that the director has to come out and literally say, "This is the story behind it. This is what they mean. This is what happened." So far we found out that the Jason Todd was killed by the Joker.
Yeah.
The Batman went ape shit on him, messed up his face,
which is great,
which has driven him crazy enough to tattoo his body. And we learn all of this from the director's mouth. At no point is it seen.
But don't you think
that's the problem with DC?
Yeah, but don't you think if they revealed Batman going ape shit on the Joker, it would add credence to his bulldog attitude in BVS?
Well, but he's also running around killing people in that.
It sets up this, and Alfred does allude to it.
Mm-hmm.
He does allude to this escalation that Bruce Wayne or Batman is on.
Yeah. You're branding people now.
It's he makes one or two references, and well, I'll talk about this because I am doing a shot by shot.
Right.
BVS extended podcast where I'm just going to watch the movie and go through it piece by piece. But there's definitely that tone in Alfred when he talks to Bruce Wayne, to where he's not trying to help him or enable him, not even trying to warn him. He's just flat out telling him what the escalation is, and that escalation is the Dark Knight off the handles.
Right.
Okay. And sure, and I don't think they're going to keep it like that, but I just think what we're witnessing is the end of this phase of the Dark Knight, okay, in BVS, which is, I guess, the super angry phase, I need therapy.
He'll be
phase.
happy once he has friends in this next one.
So
I got 7 friends.
Yeah, yeah. And so last night too. So we kind of went back and forth on. We started talking about the Infinity War Avengers movie.
Right.
And I just kind of made the off-the-cuff comment that movie is going to be the death blow punch to DC, to the DC extended movie film, whatever they're calling it, universe. Why is it extended? Why can't it be like DC Film U? Why is it extended?
I guess because if it was DC Film U, it'd be too close to Marvel Cinematic U, and I guess the best way to put it would be Marvel is now a movie company that occasionally puts out comic books, whereas DC is still a comic book company that occasionally puts out comic book movies.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, Marvel's comics now are solely for advertising for their movie universe. Whereas DC, like, their comic line is still their brand, and the movies are just a product of...
Yeah, it just really kind of still shows off that DC's just off color. Like, they can't figure, you can't figure out what you're calling this crap.
Right.
They can't even figure it out. But I agree with that take. So, I guess what we were trying to guesstimate or flow out was that you have these Marvel movies,
right,
that built into Avengers,
mm-hmm.
and then Avengers built into Civil War,
right,
which no one saw coming. Like, no one saw Civil War as being as impactful as it was.
Maybe even more now with what the directors have come out and said.
And then, which we'll get into, and then Civil War is going to build into Infinity War.
Right.
So once Infinity War comes out, that literally is, lack of a better term, Galactus coming to eat your world.
Right.
And Galactus is coming to eat the DC EU. And you were like, you pushed back, but I did say this. I don't understand the logic, regardless if it works or not,
mm-hmm.
of them keeping Darkseid secret.
Right.
You had opportunities,
mm-hmm.
like opportunities you made because movies don't exist. You
right.
make decisions to put Darkseid in that BVS movie,
mm-hmm.
and post credits, mid credits, epilogue, prologue, dream sequence, flash forward, flash sideways sequence, all of these things.
Right.
And then the one hint you have towards this, that communion scene, you cut out, and it's not even Darkseid, or that it could be what Darkseid looks like.
It could be, but haven't they said that's Steppenwolf?
I don't know if
isn't it?
They may have said it's official, but it seems like everyone's saying it's Steppenwolf. So whatever, we'll just say it's
Well,
Steppenwolf.
I thought they announced Steppenwolf as the Justice League villain.
I think they did, yeah.
I thought
right.
so.
So you have
and there's no more Justice League Part 2. So in theory, Darkseid's not even mentioned yet.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense as to why they didn't tease
and
him.
Darkseid is he's such an awesome villain.
Right.
And the reason why he's awesome is very simple. It's a little bit of why Doctor Doom is great, and I guess for a while, like the Grant Morrison, the pre-Morrison E for Extinction storyline, Magneto.
Okay.
Where Magneto had Genosha,
right.
which was, and even before that, he had the baller thing, Asteroid M.
Right.
Which was the floating super
Yep.
fortress.
Yep.
Like, in space, like, get away from me, humans. Okay?
Which is how they kill the X-Men every time they want to.
Yeah, right.
Hey, there's a secret meeting on Asteroid M.
Yeah.
What do you mean there's a nuke on its...
Right, yeah. And so, even, like, with that. So, Darkseid is what Doom has, what Magneto had, literally on as much cocaine, steroids, amphetamines,
mm-hmm.
go drugs, Molly, as you can put into a living human being.
Right.
It's that, okay? It's just on crack. It's nuts. Because this guy has a world. He has an entire culture devoted to who he is and what he represents. And he represents destruction. He represents his... It's not even destruction. It's like destruction through the means of his way, or like that's it.
I rule you or you're gone.
To the point that he can fight anyone. He can fight Superman. He's essentially like part, like, you know, if they go to it, I hope they do in the Wonder Woman movie, but they should go into the New Gods, and they could set up, because they did this is a little bit New 52, where Wonder Woman is a lineage of the New Gods and not Greek mythology.
Right.
And brilliant. Like, awesome. Like, so, essentially, Darkseid is a god. A god that chooses to walk among mortals to, like, control them. Like, there's so much there, like, context-wise, that you're not going to get all of it in one movie.
Right.
And filtering it in, like, you know, like they did Thanos, because, you know, his scenes in Guardians are so pound for pound, like, so valuable.
Right.
They don't even show you the extent of his powers. You just see his, like, psychology.
Right.
And how he's operating.
And his reach of power.
Yeah, and this Ronin, like, I love Ronin. I love Ronin. He's a creepy looking dude.
Yeah.
Creepy. Loved him. You have Ronin, who's powerful. Who just tosses Drax into a bag of ecto-cooler. Like, ecto-cooler horse piss. Okay? And goes through him, who's like essentially so pissed off he's just going to destroy a whole homeworld.
Right.
Just gonna
wipe it out.
Yeah. Okay. And like kind of got there. Okay. And that guy is nothing.
Right.
Against Thanos. Okay. So they've already done this job. Like, you already see, like, him working with Loki.
Right.
As this, like, attempt. It's just like, that didn't work out. No big deal.
Back to the drawing board.
Like, I'm not crushed. I don't go home with my head hanging. Because you know why? I've been doing this for centuries. And
I'm going to keep at it.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Who cares about Steppenwolf?
Right. Who does care?
Okay. This is the problem.
Exactly.
This Infinity War movie has so much already built into it that these notes are already, like, on the music sheet.
Right.
They're already resonating. So the in-between stuff can suck, and Infinity War is still going to hit those notes.
Right.
It's crazy. Just even talking to you now.
It's a master plan, thought out. That's the difference.
It's Thanos.
It's literally like 60 people sitting in a room plotting out the next 10 years, whereas these guys are still trying to figure out what they're doing this year.
Have you read any of, like, how they do that?
No.
They say they were talking about how they keep track of characters.
Okay.
And they have, like, a giant wall of all the characters, like, supporting and focused, like Captain America, as trading cards on this giant wall.
Okay.
And then the wall's kind of broken up within what the movies are. And they move the cards into the movies.
Makes sense.
And that's how they know who's dead and who's alive and who's, you know? And you're always just like, dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah, right?
Like, you know,
I mean,
like,
you
isn't
need
that
it
cool?
at that point.
Yeah. So that, I think once Doctor Strange, and I'll say it again, becomes the biggest 3D movie of all time.
Okay.
Brings magic into, like, superhero magic into
cinematic universe.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't know, like, I was thinking about this earlier today, kind of doing some of the prep work for this. So, in Winter Soldier, the consultant guy, the guy with the bald head that they throw off the building, that Falcon catches,
right?
The Hydra guy,
right?
You know, there was a short film called The Consultant.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sitwell, Agent Sitwell.
Okay, I don't even know his name. Yeah. So he mentions Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
In that.
Stephen Strange. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Namor's reference there.
So here's the thing with that, though. For him to be on their radar, he would already have powers, right? So does Doctor Strange, the movie, take place before Winter Soldier? For that reference to exist?
Quite possibly.
I think it's not going to. But at the same time, it should. But I think that's like nitpicking. I think that's already like that's like a no prize. That's Marvel used to do no prizes for people that wrote in continuity inconsistencies, and then was able to explain it.
Okay.
And then you got like a no prize, which was like an empty envelope. But that was a part of like the marching Marvel army.
Okay.
And that was like, they did that for decades. Okay? Crazy. I love it. But so anyway, so maybe Doctor Strange is on the radar for something else other than being power driven. But either way, so
well, I mean, maybe at that point, that's when he's disappeared off of the radar to go and meet the Ancient One, and maybe they're aware of the Ancient One, and they know,
right? Or they know Strange is on their radar, or something. Okay,
something.
I think it's awesome that that's even like in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That like that's so easily done, but which is fine, but it's never like effective.
No.
Like, it just seems like when Marvel does it, it works, and when anyone else does it, it doesn't.
Right. Well, it's because no one else has gone far enough. Like, it's the matter of it. Like, all right, Universal now, they're starting their shared universe with this Tom Cruise monster movie.
Yeah, and how? Like, tell me about. Well, I don't know hardly anything about that. What do you know? Do you know anything?
I know that there's rumors that The Rock is potentially up to play the Wolfman.
No way.
Way.
I think The Rock in anything's perfect. But, like, I don't care if he's Wolfman or not.
Yeah.
Make him Frankenstein. I don't give a dog crap.
But yeah, it's starting off with Tom Cruise and the Mummy, and they're wrapping it all around.
So real quick, like people always have opinions about Tom Cruise, because everyone's like a backseat expert on things. But I think he's one of the best developers in Hollywood history. Meaning the guy works scripts better than anyone.
I could take more leave him.
Okay. I really don't think he's in. He may not be in movies that you love, like There's Night and Day and Mission Impossible 2 and stuff like that. But all in all, he's in solid movies.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Edge of Tomorrow is great. That is a great movie.
Edge of Tomorrow, like his, I guess, modern sci-fi run. It's like Edge of Tomorrow, War of the Worlds, Oblivion, and Minority Report. But they're all look, sci-fi.
Solid concepts, I'll say, but
yeah, but you know what it is? Sci-fi is so hard to do right. It really is. It's like the hardest of all of those genres. Okay, like it's the hardest one. Okay, and like per pound though, like those 4 movies are better than almost like a majority. Like there's only there's a handful of good sci-fi movies. Period. Like there really is. And this guy's been involved with 4 of them. They're watchable. They have points. Like they are science fiction-y, meaning that they have these broad ideas. These like I'm going to wrap my arms around this idea. Because most science fiction makes no sense. Planet of the Apes makes no sense. Soylent Green makes no sense. Okay, Logan's Run makes no sense. 2001, like it's blasphemous. Kind of makes no sense, but what you get is like the presentation of that, and that resonates. Like, cause it's so with like my whole big point with Planet of the Apes is that if they knew about this, like the blackout zone, and they knew that the Statue of Liberty and all these things were in the blackout zone, okay, like why would they it's almost like why would they let that exist? Like you already established you have TNT and stuff. Like, just blow it the hell up. Like, it's just, like, logical things in that, but it doesn't matter. Because, like, there's sociological, like, even, like, economic hypothesis that's in those movies. Okay? But, yeah, but pound for pound. So Tom Cruise now has maybe, like, I guess, like, maybe the second biggest, like, just... like straight up film franchise next to Fast and Furious being Mission Impossible, because those, to me, those are Ethan Hunt movies.
Right. Like,
they're not really like, because if you ever saw the original Mission Impossible episodes, there was, like, you saw all of these things and it came together at the end.
Right.
Okay. None of that is in those movies. A little bit in, like, the first one, but it's like, and that's how they were, like, Mission Impossible. They just had these ways of doing things. So they're just straight up Ethan Hunt, like, action James Bond driven type movies, which are great because I love all of them. So it's kind of like he's behind that. He's behind a ton of other, like, Oscar driven, and icon driven movies, like Risky Business, Top Gun.
Right.
Even, like, Cocktail. Like, Cocktail just doesn't go away. Okay?
It's a good movie.
So, this guy, you know, like, even up for Iron Man, like, kind of backs out of it. Like, you know, like, decides not to do it. And then he gets involved with this.
Right.
And I think this is where, like, the excitement comes from. Because the guy can still do whatever he wants, go in any direction. And it's like, wow, like, just... The Mummy. Yeah. Like, Tom Cruise, The Mummy.
Yeah.
It just seems so wild.
It does. It does.
And
they should have waited, in all honesty.
Like, waited for,
like,
the right guy to come along?
No. I'm not saying Tom Cruise is the wrong guy. Because he's not Imhotep. He's like the Brendan Fraser, if you will. But that's just it. Brendan Fraser's 1 and 2 were really good, and they're not that old. So to start with the new, like, all right,
yeah. Well,
Benincio's Wolfman and the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, like, those should be the last two in your shared universe.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing, though. So the Wolfman, Mummy 1, 2, and Scorpion 1, 2, and 3, and Scorpion King.
Right.
Like, those, they're kind of already forgotten. Like, they just don't resonate. I don't think anyone cares about them at all. Like, no one cares about Benicio del Toro's Wolfman.
God, no, because it's a terrible movie.
Most people don't even know the difference between Mummy 1 and 2.
Well,
like, they just, like, they forget that there was, like, a kid in the second movie.
And
like,
those little
like
pygmy Ewoks.
Yeah.
Don't you neglect the pygmy Ewoks.
Yeah. So, and, look, Mummy 1 and 2 were, like, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're great. I love them. I think he's awesome in them. Like, I think we talked about this before. Like, so they legacy built the second movie. Like, the wife.
Right.
Her bloodline
is connected to,
and it's like, that's like the WTF. It's like, why we don't even need that?
Exactly.
Because you have all this other stuff.
You have the first one to connect you, so you don't need the bloodline connections taking you back.
And I think it took away from her being, like, infinitely curious, like she was in the first one.
Right.
To where, like, in the second one now, she's like a child.
She's just
destiny.
drawn to it because it's her.
Like, but he's awesome though.
Right.
Brendan Fraser is so good. I don't. Do you remember?
One of the few people that I will still say could take up the role of Indiana Jones if they were gonna do it.
What's the third one? What's the name of the third one?
The Temple of the Dragon or the
End?
No, that's
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, thank you. No, that one, the Dragon Emperor or the Emperor's Tomb or
Jet Li.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one where they're in the Orient.
It's kind of funny how that and Pirates both went Asian.
Right.
They must have really wanted to go into those markets.
And the third one's just a mirror of the second one. The kid's just older, and instead of it being Evie's connection, it's now the dad's.
Older in the
right,
third
he's
one.
an adult. They recast him, and instead of them killing Evie and bringing
That's kind of cool.
her back in the second one, they kill off Rick and bring him back in the third one.
What's Jet Li doing? What's his...
I couldn't tell you. I saw that movie once. I fell asleep.
Yeah, I did.
In the middle. I woke up at the end.
Is there like a snow sequence in that?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like Yetis and shit in that movie because it's all Himalayas.
Yeah,
and he has like the power to control fire. I want to say.
Is it the Yeti from Monsters Inc?
No, it's they're a little more
like happy and googly eyed Yeti in like a serious action movie.
They're more Star Wars Yetis.
I feel like we should watch that.
Oh God.
I'm so curious because I only saw it one time.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like that one, the main thing that sticks out, it's just such a rehashing of the second one. Like everyone says about 1 and 2, it just because it follows the same format. Like if you line those two movies up, it's almost shot for shot the same, for shot the same, and then at the end, instead of killing the one parent, you kill the other and you resurrect it. Like, just leave the motherfucker dead at that point.
Yeah.
Like everyone has died and come back in this series.
Isn't there like the army, the Stone Soldier Army?
Yeah, I think that's the one where he controls it.
Do they?
Well, they all kind of have a stone army because Imhotep has those stone mummies and the dust mummies.
I was just watching because I'm always watching the movies like Furious 7.
Right.
And when they go
Freeform had them on today. I actually saw the first one for the first time.
When they go through, there was this action scene where their cars jumping buildings.
Right.
And so they go through the second building in Furious 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an art gallery.
Okay.
The whole floor is those stone mummies from the third Mummy movie. Like they just put those in movies just because they're like
we have so many.
Yeah, it's almost like there's just like an excess in some prop department somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And they're like,
bring me 12 of the mummy statue mummies.
How many of them do we have left? Do we have 100? But so couple of the things we're going to talk about too is I guess the need for updates, and there's James and the Giant Peach, and looks like it might get a live action treatment.
Right.
And that's like we already kind of touched on it, so that's something no one really cares about.
No, it's a little unnecessary.
Because I thought, did you see the stop and go animation one?
The original?
Yeah.
The one that Tim Burton had something to do with?
Yeah, something. I don't know if it's him or if it's Tim Salick or Henry Salick.
I think he produced it, or I know he didn't direct it. Yeah. I don't even think he wrote it, but I think he had a hand in it.
It looks Tim Burton-y.
I'm pretty sure he did have a hand in that. I've seen it, yeah.
And that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's silly. I think the stop and go works.
Right.
Does it have to be live action? I don't really know. I really don't care.
Well, that one starts out and ends live action.
Is that? Do you think that's a part of like this trend that Disney created of doing like children-styled media, meaning cartoons and stop and go animation, like how they're making live actions of all of their movies?
I think so.
And
yeah.
Will this lead into a live action Nightmare Before Christmas?
That one, I'll say probably not. It'd be a little too hard to pull off.
Blasphemous?
But I will say, by the time I'm 25 now, going on 26. By the time I am 45,
you're 25, going on 18. Main child,
baby face, folks, big old baby face. No, but I will say, by the time I'm 45. There will be live action Kung Fu Pandas, How to Train Your Dragons, and Shrek movies, if not in the works, happening.
Kung Fu Panda works so well in live action.
It would, yeah.
It would be perfect for live. I even think Shrek would be perfect.
Yeah.
Live action.
How to Train Your Dragon would be good too.
Train Your Dragon's just nuts.
It is.
That would be like, I think that would be.
That would be like Game of Thronesy and
like that just would be sensory overload. And real quick, so no interest in anything in Pete's Dragon since we're on.
Honestly, the original never really captured me, which sucks because I'm a big like dragon fantasy.
Yeah. Well, the original's just like
a fat
cartoon of a dragon.
Yeah.
From a time where they didn't focus on like rendering dragons.
I love the design of the dragon in that.
But there wasn't like a lot of dragon stuff when that came out. Now it's like, you've had endless action figures,
right?
Endless movies now.
Mm-hmm.
Like at one time, at one time, and I always talk about this movie because I love it, but like Dragon Slayer
Right.
was your only live action dragon.
Right.
And then Dragonheart came out.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so you still had Dragon Slayer as your own, and then hugely like forgotten movie, but Reign of Fire.
Right.
Who that has Matthew McConaughey, that I love in that movie.
Yes, Gerard Butler. The most pointless death
Christian
in
Bale.
cinematic history is in that movie.
But dude,
Let me just jump on this dragon with the battle axe.
Yeah.
I got it, guys.
Well, I guess
I know we've had this
but
20 times.
Yeah,
so
but you know what though? Like, for him to go out like that,
I know.
Like, you're kind of
he would never have a life in that
so
world.
what happened? Like, what's the sequence in that? He
Does
that. And
he climbs up the ladder.
But does that open up Christian Bale to?
No, that's just it. Because he goes up like he's exactly.
Yeah.
He goes up like he's gonna take it out.
Shot,
it eats him. Then there's like 15 more minutes of action, and then Christian Bale takes out the dragon. It's a great sequence. It would have been better if he would have split the dragon's head in half and like landed on the body or some shit, or at least took it out from the inside and they like died in the crash.
Yeah, or like hang from like the mouth.
Yeah,
and,
something.
Like, not die or something.
His character was too good and good at his job to die. That's the other thing.
Well,
like he's one of the only guys to have lived that long in this war where people die our life expectancy is nothing.
But that movie too was like, I remember when that came out, that was like disappointing because you kind of heard about what the idea, and this is back when I worked in the comic shop.
Right.
So it was like a dragon war movie.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, and then it had like good people in it. And you're like, yo, like Empire
Gerard
of
Butler,
the Sun is in the movie.
Yep.
But Gerard Butler wasn't Gerard Butler.
I know,
Okay,
but he was coming up.
Yeah.
It adds credibility now.
Yeah, but and you're like, and then the movie gets through probably one of the worst opening narrations. Mm-hmm. Because we were talking about that last week with the Dark Crystal,
right?
Which has the best,
right?
So it has this weird opening narration, and then it's all over,
right?
Like there's no and then like there's one dragon left. Right? Isn't that?
No, there's one male left.
There's one male left.
And there's like all the females.
Yeah.
Or one female and all the males. Either way, there's one big one that's still breeding.
Right.
And all the rest of them are just.
But then, like, don't they allude to that the food source is drying up?
Yeah, they've scorched the earth because they breathe in the ash,
right.
And there's pretty much nothing left to burn, so they're dying off and cannibalizing themselves.
What is this? Like, I'm telling you, dude, that movie. Awesome sequel for like a part one that never happened. Like, if there was ever a movie that needed like a reboot,
right?
Like reboot that movie.
Yeah, give it another shot
and do it like the modern Dragon War.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just do it to where like all of this technology is going up against these dragons, and it's just like bonkers.
Right.
Okay, and like no love interest. Just make it all military. Put Matthew McConaughey back in it.
Yeah.
I don't freaking care.
I want Quinn.
His character is the absolute best.
He's one of the best
movie.
Alpha male leads.
And
like, period.
I guess Christian Bale's like the best crybaby. Because he's such a puss in that movie.
He is.
I want him to
We
die.
need to stay in the walls.
Yeah, know where your hiding places
You know who
are.
he reminds me of? He reminds me of Tilda Swinton in Snowpiercer. Like the way that she's just like the order keeper.
Yeah.
Everything has its place. You have to do what I say.
But you know what though? She was at least deadly.
Right.
Like she was like a character to where like you were just like wow.
Well, she's also a little touched in the head too.
Yeah, but Christian Bale
shoes do not go on the head. Shoes do not go on the hands. Shoes go on the feet. Hats go on the head. I'm a hat. You're a shoe.
But Christian Bale is just such a But good. So back to this Disney stuff though.
Right.
So Beauty and the Beast. We got to
Cogsworth.
See. Okay. No surprise.
No.
And so it's Cogsworth, Mrs. the cup lady thing.
No, she didn't. We don't. It's only Cogsworth and Lumiere that came out.
Okay.
Cogsworth kind of has a face.
Yeah, but nothing.
Lumiere doesn't.
They're just guys in costumes, right?
No, it's like an actual clock.
Is it an actual clock?
Yeah, it's
I
like
thought they were guys in
No,
costumes.
they look. It's like an actual clock and an actual candlestick, like the way that the mice in Cinderella are actually just.
All right, so we took a little pause there because we had to get water, and so we did check out the Beauty and the Beast stuff. I don't know. So we saw what the realistic renderings
Right.
of the candle and clock,
Right.
and the human version, and Mrs. Potts is in it. So, but still, no excitement with Beauty and the Beast.
I haven't been excited for really any of the live action. Alice in Wonderland was the only one that like kind of had me, and it wasn't even for Tim Burton. It's just because that one is so.
See, I don't even consider
out
that.
there.
I don't even consider that a part of, even though it is.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's like a Tim Burton movie.
Fair enough. I'll give you that.
Like,
But like that one kept the whimsy that
Yeah.
all these other live actions are getting rid of.
Yeah,
like
and-
it's.
And I guess like the only one that I really cared about was the Angelina Jolie.
Maleficent.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that one was like, that one was crazy. Because like the First Love is like, it's so weird, man. That movie's a little nutty.
I believe it.
Okay.
She's like a fairy now.
Yeah,
and-
but which is kind of cool because they kind of build this like thing into her, this like hatred or whatever.
Right.
Outcast and all this other stuff. But if I remember, so like it's First Love's kiss,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure it was like always the prince.
Right.
In this, it's Angelina Jolie kissing Sleeping Beauty.
Right.
That's First Love's kiss,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, you know, like you can change other things, but you can, and it has like some good action sequences, and but I think that was overshadowed by the Huntsman,
Right.
The Snow White, the
Hemsworth, right.
whatever. Yeah, because that, like, I just love that movie. Like the Seven Dwarfs in that are just
Mhm.
so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
One of Bob Hopkins' last films.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But all of those, yeah, the dwarves are great. The design for like that rock creature thing.
Right.
It's just there's so much that's, and I guess the only bad part of that is the girl playing Snow White.
Yeah.
She never really comes off well. Doesn't deliver well.
Right.
You don't buy her in that role.
Well, I mean, she's kind of fallen off altogether since the Twilight movies
Yeah.
have ended.
But
so.
I don't know, but they kind of built the mythology of Snow White up.
Right.
Like pretty cool. I kind of forget some of the details, but I thought they like set up that she was like she could harness nature to combat, or they alluded to it, but they didn't go.
She
in that
has some
direction.
kind of power.
Yeah, and if they powered her up, that would have been cool. But so yeah, so like that's really it for that. And then last night we were discussing Rob Zombie's 31,
Right.
which is like, would you consider that under the radar?
To an
Already
extent, but
underappreciated. even though no one-
anything that he has done that wasn't House of a Thousand Corpses, Halloween, or Devil's Rejects has been under the radar.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think like I remember there being excitement for Lords of Salem.
I don't
And-
remember there being a lot of buzz for
And
it
that,
at all.
there
And I
was
remember it
trailers,
being
people
in and
like-
out of theaters quick as shit.
Yeah.
Almost straight to DVD, that one was.
I think that I still think that and Halloween 2 are very much overlooked. I think we talked about this before. I think Halloween 2's point was missed
Right.
because part 1 is the mind of the
Mhm.
serial killer,
Right.
and the second one goes. You know what the second one does? It does what they try to do in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies,
Mm-hmm.
but they took the whole series to do it, which was like the soul, like the spiritual side of the killer,
Right.
and they dissected Freddy Krueger
Mm-hmm.
in that path, but it took
Little
all
bit
these
by little
movies,
bit, yeah.
Okay, and if you put it all together, it's a great story. Halloween 2, because like even like the visual, I love the visual of the mother in white with that white horse,
Right.
Everything black,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing like maybe like that's that's how he sees the world. Like that's what's talking to him.
Right.
Like, or that's where he finds comfort in this, like this imagery that is just nuts.
Right.
Okay. And yeah, I think some of the violence is good in that.
Oh yeah.
I think that they definitely make him the deadliest Michael Myers.
By far.
He's just a tank.
Right.
And I love that.
Well, I mean, it's Tyler Mane. The man is a
yeah.
tank.
Well, he is. Yeah. But they even made him bigger too.
Right.
That. Like, you know. Yeah. So like 31, I'm like super excited for.
Right.
I just feel, and we touched on this too, that the Purge is like the visuals of the Purge and kind of like what that whole like that night, the night in those movies,
Right.
is that too close to 31, or people already desensitized?
Honestly,
that,
I couldn't tell you what 31 is about.
Oh, you're not? Are you okay? So let me tell you. So 31 is, I guess, a couple kids, or like a couple, they get kidnapped.
Okay.
And they get thrown into this like arena, but it's like this underground like labyrinth.
Okay.
And there's, I think, 8 or 9 clowns that just kill whoever they put into the labyrinth.
Okay.
And I guess there's more people. So I don't know what the 31 is in 31. It might be 31 people or something.
Might be
like
October 31st.
Yeah, or they get like possibly 31 people in the labyrinth or something. So it's just like you have killers. It's almost like Running Man.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like horror based. And that's it. But you already have these like really cool like designs and these themes, like creepy shit, because that's what they do.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of it feels like The Purge.
Okay.
But people seem to love The Purge, and to have maybe more of that, like the more of The Purge in The Purge.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
like,
it's needed. It's the American dream at this point. If you haven't woken up and said, "God damn it, why can't The Purge be real today?" then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
if beating that guy's ass doesn't cross your mind today, then there's something just wrong with you. That guy in traffic that cut you off.
I'm looking.
The old lady paying with 100 nickels at Target.
I'm just pulling up the 31 on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
The film revolves around 5 carnival workers surviving playing a game called 31, while evading murderers known as the Heads, dressed as clowns, and they have names unique to their personalities. That's it.
Okay.
So, like, the 31... Oh, so the plot. During Halloween 1976, a group of carnival workers traveling through the country in an RV on their way to their next venue. Along the way, they're stopped and attacked.
Okay.
Perfect setup.
Yep.
Right? With only a handful of them left. Blah, blah, blah. Actors' names. So it's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people.
Okay.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good murder count.
Right.
They're taken to a strange, large building where there are 3 strange people wearing aristocratic wigs, powder, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's like the Star Chamber meets like Hunger Games.
Right.
Okay, I've referenced Star Chamber before. You do have to see that movie. For the next 12 hours, they must wander through this maze, blah, blah, okay, blah, 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 and survive.
Right.
So it is Running Man and like Hunger Games. So I really don't care. That just seems nuts, exciting. I think we were discussing possibly seeing that as early as possible.
Right.
And then doing like a reaction special edition podcast.
Sounds good to me.
But I think we had other topics. So to discuss, we're kind of out of time. We're pushing 1 hour.
Right.
But we probably have another 30 minutes of topics.
I mean, we probably have another show's worth.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
You wanted to talk about the Lost Boys TV show?
A little bit, yeah.
What do you know about that?
I know good things and I know bad things.
What's the bad?
You really want to know the bad?
Yeah.
You want me to start with the bad?
Yeah.
I'm going to save the bad.
Go,
The good.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's just be positive. Tell me the good.
Okay, the good is if the show is a hit, they've already plotted it out as 7-season arc.
What?
Yeah, 7-season arc. The show will follow
7 seasons.
7 seasons.
You don't even know if you're gonna get your actors for 7.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. So they want to cast the group of vampires from the Lost Boys, if you will.
Okay.
All, I guess, my age, so they don't have to worry about the Harry Potter thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not going to age. They're vampires.
Right.
So each season, 10-episode season, or yeah, I think they said 10 episodes a season, would be set in a different decade and era. So you're going to have the Lost Boys being...
So it's somewhat like anthology.
Right.
But
American Horror style.
But everything's evolving towards...
but it's like David and his crew in the 70s.
Okay.
David and his crew in the 80s, in the 90s.
So American Horror Story.
Right.
How much of that do you watch?
I've seen them all.
Okay. So I watched the first one.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome.
Right.
What was the theme of the second one?
Asylum.
Hated it. What was the third one?
Coven.
Hated it. Even worse.
See, that's funny because I wasn't crazy about the first one. I thought the second one was great and the third one was okay.
The fourth one, the carnival one, right?
Right. Freak show.
So I watched one half of that.
Right. That
or,
one was...
or maybe marching towards the end of that.
Okay.
It was I'm officially done.
Right.
So to me, it's an unsuccessful format.
To an extent.
Okay, but Star Trek is doing it.
Right.
Where they were going to do a different Star Trek type mission in any era per season.
Okay.
And that's awesome because Star Trek is huge. You get 5,000 years of
right
continuity to play with, and you have slipstreams and different realities and or dimensions or whatever threads,
species and God knows what.
So Star Trek's damn, cool. This, all right, maybe, but this is the thing I kind of hate about vampires. It's not interesting how they go from time to time.
Right.
It's interesting when you have a movie or Vampire Lestat, and I think I'm not sure how much of Vampire Lestat. I never read it. I just as a kid I remember reading some of the comics.
Okay.
I think they were published by Innovation. But Vampire Lestat was alluded to being a rock star.
Right.
Or he was a rock star, and he just ends up in New Orleans and this other situation. Yeah. And,
well, I know there's 12 books that feature him, from the author.
And that's just awesome.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to see him as Mick Jagger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you do, but it doesn't matter. Just the idea of knowing that.
Right.
And it's a little bit of Boba Fett and Wolverine and Snake Eyes, to where the vampires have a history that you don't see, and it's thrilling when you get little bits of it.
Right.
Documenting a whole arc of vampires just seems silly because you're going to reach points where it just makes no sense. It's just you're going to reach points where you're just all right, it's a little bit like when in Wolverine Origins, that opening credit sequence, they kind of put Wolverine and Sabretooth in every war together.
Right.
Civil War, and we're in Vietnam, and we're in the Bay of Pigs, and so on and so on. And you're just that's just how do they keep getting enlisted into the army?
Yeah.
How what's the whole scenario with them ending in these moments? Okay, but alluding to it is far more interesting than seeing it.
Right.
So, but you know what it is though? If it opens up, I love long format storytelling, and if they do if they get 7 seasons and it's good, it really would be the only TV show to ever have 7 strong seasons, that ever have a real arc outside, I believe, Breaking Bad, which is to me the only show that did have a real arc that didn't feel like it just ended. Or they just were we're done with this, F this shit type of thing, ending. Sopranos, Lost, and the list goes on and on. It would be unique. It's ambitious. I think that's a little bit of our push, like my love and hate with like Stranger Things.
Right.
Like, and you're so into it, and I love that. But we were even talking today where I forget, how did that come up?
Oh, because I equated
Was it the spoiler stuff?
the movie Arrival to it.
We were talking
because
about the
they're communicating with aliens in another dimension,
and then I'm like
you just everything's Stranger Things with you,
Yeah,
and that's the first thing I've said
Stranger
is
Things
like
with
there's
you.
something on the other side of the wall talking to her.
Something-
Screw you,
yeah.
man.
Everything's Stranger Things for you, but that's like, so Stranger Things is already like, they're already at that threshold where like they told you some things,
Right.
they're hinting towards more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there an arc? Is there like an end point? Like how like, I'm talking just even like on interest level, like
Right.
how much further can this be sustained? Because that first season to me was choppy. It was rough. Wasn't 80s enough. Like, it could have been more 80s. The references are stupid as hell. Like the Thing poster, even the Dark Crystal poster, which you know, we went back and forth last night on. Stupid, because no one had that shit. No one had Dark Crystal posters on their wall as 80s children. Period. I'm sorry. Okay, never happened.
Hey.
Okay, but the thing is, and then I do feel like it wrapped up sloppy. But here's the thing. That show fires people's imaginations.
Right.
I may think every piece of it is borrowed from something else.
Because it is.
Yeah.
And they did it successfully.
But I do think it's better than most. And I'll watch, like, I'll go into the second season, like, excited. But at the end of the day, it's almost like, I don't know if they have enough built into it to keep it going, because if it becomes like personal stories, I think the show's going to fall apart.
I don't think.
I
it
think
will.
if it's more like epic, sweeping, like this stuff's affecting like large groups. Okay, like this portal that they fuck with,
right,
starts opening and bleeding, and they lose the town, and they lose the East Coast or whatever. Okay, then we're talking. Because then you're like, dude, it's apocalyptic level stuff.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's goddamn fairy world, and it's bleeding back in.
But even if
magic
it's that,
is coming back to our world.
Yeah, but even if it's that, totally uninteresting. Not interested. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be little personal stories. That's fine. Hopefully, it has like an arc to it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like, people seem to like it. But I do think some of it is, we were talking about earlier today, with like Tank Girl.
Right.
It's like social conditioning. People think they have to like Tank Girl, so the geeks love it. And it's almost like, no. Like, awesome comic, like illustration wise, one of the best. Like, from a Dark Horse or like independent comic, one of the best. Okay.
Right.
But this other fascination, silly. I think Stranger Things is a little bit like that. I really, if that show never got a season 2, I don't think there would be like a movement, like an outrage to bring it back.
I think there would be.
Yeah, like, I think it'd just be one of those things that work. And you know what, too? A lot of these shows work best in one season. Like, they do. Like, you know, I kind of have like a 3-season theory. A lot of these higher-ended cable shows are only at their peak in 3 seasons, because the writers get diluted, the producers get diluted. There's only so much talent to go around Hollywood to fill these ranks.
Right.
And yeah, there's exceptions. You know, like Game of Thrones being one of them. But that show's got to wrap up soon.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Like,
there's only 13 episodes left. It's done.
It. Okay,
it's
so
been announced.
They announced it. Yeah.
Right.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
But
it's coming to an
like,
end.
you kind of know, like, you kind of see it.
Well, there's only 2 books left for them to draw from, so, and the one's finished being written.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
then-
They're, like, I always compare that to like Akira, where like the animated movie came out before the comic series was over. But you know, the Otomo, the guy that was behind Akira, was also behind the comic series and the movie. I think he took time off the comic series to work on the movie. Okay. So he knew like where things were going. But knew like there was things to figure out.
Right.
But he kind of had this like bigger idea, kind of like 2000, another 2001 reference, but it was like a 2001 type ending that was like just showed you the final big picture.
Right.
And boom. Okay. And you know what? That's very impactful. I think when that's done, I think it's overdone today. Because even like stupid dramatic little comedies, like I watched this one with this chick the other night. Like the movie just stopped, and like you can't do the 2001 ending with this comedy in Tokyo or whatever. Like you know, like and I get it. Like they want this leap to be taken. They want this like investment to be there. It doesn't work for everything. I would have loved if Stranger Things did that because they had the momentum to do it. Like if it really ended with like they get the kids get rescued or whatever, and they're at dinner, and then like the kid coughs the thing up, and boom. Like don't even allude to 11 being alive.
Right.
Don't even allude to it, dude. Just have that kid cough up that slug and cut it. Then it's like, dude, and take out the Dungeons and Dragons thing, which was stupid. Why would you play that after you've literally been to another dimension? What interests does D&D have in your life?
Well, the kids didn't go, just Will.
Yeah, I don't care. Like,
so just Will shouldn't be there playing.
I do think it's a manifestation. I think they're manifesting that. Just with the sheer fact when they flipped the board over and the bottom was black, and that was like the way how they crystallized the theory. Like, you know, like it just made, I don't know, but I do feel like we should do more with Stranger Things, like dissect it a little bit more.
Okay.
Because the show has guts, it has body.
You've just badmouthed it this entire time.
It does, but
you got to make up your mind.
But there's a couple things like missteps. That's it.
Well, according to you, the whole show is a shit misstep.
It is a shit misstep.
So make up your mind.
But there's stuff there.
They name shoes after you, Flip Flop.
But I don't know. Like I was still like that's the stuff I'm a little bit more interested in re-exploring with Stranger Things. Though, is really kind of what's happening with the kids more than happening anyplace else.
Right.
Because I think there is nuance there with the kids. They got lucky with the kids.
Well, yeah, they're kind of screwed with them now, though.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, like you look at Super 8 and tried to do the same thing.
Right.
And Stranger Things delivered that concept so much more effective than Super 8. And
by far.
Yeah, but Super 8 too wasn't like period driven enough.
Right. Well, that movie's just not enough. It just lacks for me. Well, I want to like it. I do.
It marches towards this thing that you don't care about. By the time you get there, you're just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
You know, E.T. Phone Home alien thing with magnets. Right. That's
pretty much.
What happens? Does it make like a portal? Does it make a spaceship?
It makes a spaceship out of all those little cubes.
I thought it made like a portal. Like it opens up like this thing.
No, he just kind of.
How would it make a spaceship?
It like builds around him. Yeah, that's a ship, and it just flies like away. He just needs them all to make it, and they have to like one locked up or some shit.
He has to get the Legos.
Right, pretty much, and he's missing the one Lego piece that brings it all together.
Aliens get around.
Yeah, yep.
See, the portal thing would have been awesome.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
That could have been a series.
Smack J.J. Abrams. That's what you're gonna do.
He like, you know, but you know what it is? There's always excitement when he does something.
Oh yeah. And
like I think that's a part of the fun of it. And you know, people got snake bitten by him twice, but like back to back, it was that and the Star Trek, the Into Darkness, where they were like, it's not Khan, it's not Khan, it is Khan. Yeah. And then by the time they said it was Khan, you're just like, oh fuck, it's Khan.
We fucking knew it was Khan.
Yeah. But you kind of didn't even care. It did have a blowback.
Right. Because they were lying to us.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't understand that, because you really could have went all in on...
just say it's Khan. Just say, we're doing Khan.
Like, you could have went all in on, like, a real Khan origin with that, and not killed him. Or I don't know. Does he die in that? I forget.
I don't think so.
Alright.
Because they need his blood. Don't they, like, freeze him or whatever?
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah.
But they could have really set that guy up.
It's true.
They could have set him up to be this, like, opposite of, I guess, Kirk and Spock combined, or whatever. Or just this, like, crazy super soldier. They
Pretty much.
There's a lie in that movie that didn't. But, again, that's another one. It, like, has stretches.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like JJ. I think he's forever the guy that rescues Star Wars now.
Yeah.
And he, like, you can do no wrong at this point.
He can.
I don't like it. What's his involvement with 8? Is he producing?
I want to say he
8?
is. I want to say he's on producer.
How much do you think in what he did for 7? How much of that do you think is going to be in everything? Like, do you think I think he wrote the entire, like, future. Like all these beats, all these things, all these characters, and what the arcs are. I think they're already, like, him and his team.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd say
he really did take over.
I'd say he probably mapped out 7, 8, and 9.
And he did make Star Trek sexy.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Star Trek was nerds, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't having sex if you watch Star Trek.
Right.
And now it's like you watch that movie with, like, a freaking boner. A bro boner and a, like, lady boner.
And
for,
a
like,
girl on your arm.
Yeah.
Because Chris Pine's in it and he's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
I just think like they sexualized Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah. And they made it sleek.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in this new one, like, he's, like, riding a motorcycle and jumping things. It's just like, yeah, like X Games. He has awesome ability.
Yes.
And he knows story. He might be the best big name director right now.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Like, so now you have, like, the Russo brothers, but they've only done 2.
Right. Now, I'll say Kevin Smith probably said it best on that Geeking Out show of his, like, because him and the bigger guy from all the JJ movies were talking to JJ, and they got back to the studio, and the bigger guy who's known him for years has said, like, I don't think we've seen his best. Like, he's done great with Star Trek, he's done great with Star Wars, like, we haven't seen his Star Wars yet, and I agreed, like, a mind like that, like, Cloverfield's just scratching the surface, Super 8, like...
It's almost like you could give Transformers to JJ,
mm-hmm.
and pun intended, he would transform that franchise.
Yep, easily.
They
should have gave him Ghostbusters. Imagine what Ghostbusters could have been.
Yeah, I mean, there is no one, like, in the history of Hollywood, even though this is, like, it's a different business now. It's like the product's so different.
Right.
But he's almost like this standard bearer now.
Yeah.
Of that next generation to be able to step into any franchise. I mean, dude, we're forgetting about Mission Impossible.
Right.
He did 3,
mm-hmm.
which is so awesome. With the rabbit's foot. I'd love to... Dude, you never find out what that thing is. It's the best. And that bridge sequence is still,
mm-hmm.
like, it's... Dude, I love that bridge sequence. But, you know, and then they blow out William C. Macy. They spray this, like, this foam, and they just, like, shatter it. It's just, dude, that... And, like, they get him out, and he has, like, the wine stains on it, and the wind's blowing his hair. It just looks awesome. But, yeah. So, and he's ushered that franchise, because he was involved with the next 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, he literally saved Mission Impossible.
Yep.
Tom Cruise
Star Wars.
Tom Cruise being a genius, putting him on it. Okay, and Tom Cruise has cherry-picked nothing but great directors.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, like, that argument for him. So, yeah, dude, it really is in JJ we trust. And everyone thought it was Joss Whedon after Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Age of Ultron happened.
Yep. Yep.
Age of Ultron happened, and you lost the throne.
Zack Snyder had the same mantle, and they just took that
but
away and gave it to.
No one ever was like.
Back in the days
no
of
one,
300,
dude,
his stylized
but
choices.
After Sucker Punch.
Yeah, but Watchmen.
But nobody was
300
excited about him doing Watchmen. Nobody was excited.
You were excited as shit.
Oh,
You bought me the book and made me read it.
Yeah, because I knew what that guy. I knew what he can do.
That's what I'm saying. Back then, he was the one.
But
they gave him all of DC, and he fucked it up.
But it would still be like if Watchmen worked, and if even Batman vs Superman worked, then you could be like, dude, this guy
that's what they were setting him up for, and he just the
know,
same thing with Bryan Singer, and there have been others that have attempted it, but JJ has the solid track record.
So he really has a superior process. Like he has a way of, and a lot of what we do, like you kind of funnel the ideas,
right? And
this is where kind of like the art director type stuff, where like you pick and choose the best ideas, or like creative direction. But you need that funnel. Okay, he's interesting. We should really do more on him.
I'm down.
Like just really, because what's his next? Do we know what his next movie is?
I'll tell you about it.
Should we look that up? I think we're gonna look that up, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, back to the bed with Lost Boys.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Nah, it's cool. Just forget about me.
You should have kept us on track with that.
I just got us back on track.
All right.
I've learned to not interrupt Pete sometimes.
Oh, come on.
We don't.
So he's involved with Westworld too, the HBO show.
Okay, I thought he's producing that, right?
Yeah.
I think he's executive producing.
Michael Crichton. That's a good movie.
I believe it. I'm excited. The TV show looks all right. I'm pretty excited for it.
All right, so only he on IMDb, he's definitely producing. Let's see what he has as director though.
But the Lost Boys show is in development for the CW.
Yeah, so he has nothing on his slate to direct.
Nope, Star Wars was it.
But what he's producing though is Episode 8, God Particle, producer filming, Coma, producer, and that's it. So is God Particle part of the Hard-On Collider?
Maybe.
Like maybe if that's like a real.
Oh wow, he didn't get any writing credit for Star Wars Episode 8.
No, but that's what I mean. I think his groundwork is like, because like they make Bibles, they make these like roadmaps, and then someone writes from that, but someone still has to create.
Oh shit! Ready for this? He wrote the screenplay for Armageddon.
Yeah.
And he also wrote Joyride.
And Regarding Henry.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Forever Young. My mother loves that movie.
Yeah, he was
written by Jeffrey Abrams.
He was heartfelt, like, which was apparent in, if you watch Felicity.
Okay.
Felicity was like, and even the work he did with like Alias was just like really cool. I haven't seen all of Alias, but I've seen chunks of it.
Right.
But Felicity is such a good show for 2 seasons.
I believe it.
Such an awesome show, and that was like one of his babies. So like the guy knows that's what I mean. Like the guy has a discipline in writing heartfelt, character-driven, like drama comedies.
Right.
Fringe. And then like you give him Star Trek, and you give him Star Wars, and you give him like science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And you're almost like, dude, like how like it's hard. Even Super 8 for its flaws has so much going for it up until the monster spaceship Lego thing. Like that movie is just building, and you're anticipating. Like it does control your emotions.
Right.
He calls it mystery box. Yeah, like his stories are mystery boxes where you keep opening the box and opening the box, and eventually you'll get the thing. Yeah.
Right.
But all right, let's call it quits. I think we'll do more on Lost Boys.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about the Lethal Weapon live action. I wanted to talk about Lethal Weapon 2. I wanted to talk about the I Spit on Your Grave.
Right. Right.
remakes. Because I've been watching those.
We had some Marvel stuff to talk about.
And yeah, so like, and Thor Ragnarok now is becoming, it's just building hype.
Yep. Thor, Cap.
There was just so much.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, we wanted to talk, but we're already like, what is our time stamp? We're already 90 minutes in, so we're just gonna call it quits. We're gonna try and do these a little bit more frequency when we're at this stage.
Right.
When we have leftovers. But in the meantime, do we have a special edition that we wanted to try and do stuff on the Tick?
Right.
With Amazon.
We got the Tick. We were
going to do a
commentaries in the work.
Shop.
Pet Shop. Maybe something coming with some Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal. We got some stuff in the pipeline.
Shot by shot with Dark Crystal is a must.
Right.
Because we were both watching that last weekend, and there was just stuff we were just figuring out for the first time. And I've seen that movie
countless times.
Yeah.
Countless. I've been watching it since I was born.
I've always championed Dark Crystal, and there's things that we're still discovering.
Right.
Just not in like the production, but in what's actually like
in the movie. Scenes that happen went to hell. What?
Well, I still back the theory that at the end of the movie, it's the light crystal,
right, and
the dark crystal ceases to exist.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure at the end there is life being reborn all around everything.
But the crystal, but it can't. If the crystal cracks and becomes dark,
right,
the whole has got to be light. It still
true.
Can't be the dark crystal. No. That's why it favors.
Well, it turns white instead of purple.
Yeah, but that's why it favors the Skeksis.
Right.
And that's something too. Like I kind of never put together that the crystal favors the Skeksis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe why the mystics are like abandoned.
Right. Off on there.
Yeah. Okay. And it favors the Skeksis because it's dark.
Right. And they're assholes.
They are.
They're
so awesome though. I love the one that's like the prissier. There's one, I don't know what I think they do have names, but there's one that's like this. They look like aristocrats, but there's one that's like extra richy and extra. And when he's eating eating things with his like fingers.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like. And so I pee myself whenever that is.
I never noticed the one with the like steampunk eye and beak.
He has like he's part robot or whatever.
Yeah. Where's the mystic with the missing eye at that point? Because if they're tied.
But that's again, but like the science fiction point, like it all falls apart.
See, that to me is not science fiction. That's straight up fantasy.
It's just fantasy, but it's still the same logic. If you had that in a science fiction movie, it's the same logic. It always falls apart. That's why you have only a few good science fiction. It goes right back. Dude, we only have
I could come up with a list of great science fiction movies. A list.
Let's do the list right now, real quick. And then we'll sign off.
All right.
Okay, all right. Science. So, all right. So, I said it before, 2001.
Okay.
Matrix.
Okay.
Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Apes, all of them. I'll just say all.
Fair enough.
Opposed to new ones and whatever.
All right. Star Wars, all of them.
Star Wars, which is more science fantasy. Star Wars is more fantasy than science fiction. It's fantasy.
It's a fair mix.
It has spaceships, so we'll call it science fiction.
There we go. Total Recall.
Total Recall. Fantastic. So wait.
Would you consider Running Man?
Yeah.
Or would that be action?
Yeah, Running Man is like LTE. It's like
Demolition Man, would you consider that sci-fi?
Yeah, because again,
the futuristic settings.
Well, it's not just like futuristic. It has like social, like it has like social context.
Right.
And it has ideas that, like, again, only exist in science fiction, like Taco Bell taking over the world.
The gun needing to charge its batteries.
Okay, so we're only up to 8.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. The Last Starfighter.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
Dude, you put Last Starfighter with the Matrix.
All right, Enemy Mine.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing.
You put the Matrix on the list.
But wait.
That movie falls apart. It does not hold up years later.
But wait, Running Man and Demolition Man are like I wouldn't put Total Recall because I think Total Recall elevates. Running Man and Demolition Man are like C-level science fiction movies.
They are.
Okay, but they're not even like on the list. Okay, Last Starfighter is like all the way. Like
all right, Enemy Mine.
Enemy Mine is good because I do like that. That is.
Oh, because you like it, it's good to go on.
No, I know. It's because it deals with science fiction concepts very well. Like Last Starfighter is just. Like, it's a fun movie to watch.
Right.
It's just.
But we said good sci-fi movies. We never said it had to have sustenance.
It's just,
hey, if it's fun to watch, it's a good movie.
It needs to have sustenance. That's what makes it science fiction. Okay.
All right, Surrogates.
Surrogates is good. Yeah, so I said earlier, like Soylent Green.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is there. Blade Runner is probably top 3.
Alien. The whole franchise.
Yeah, Alien and Aliens are right there. But again, too, like, there's very little, like, science fiction in Alien.
I'll give you that.
It's just, like, it's monster in space.
More the space exploration of it.
Like, it's a setting in space.
The Martian, Interstellar.
I haven't seen The Martian. Interstellar, no. Interstellar just, that to me falls apart.
Fair enough. I don't like it either, but
yeah,
everyone else does. So
dude, literally the Interstellar. I'm a guy in a bookshelf.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You gotta do more with that. That movie, there was so much set up into that movie, like, you know, like the people doing the like the narrations or like that was all like the Dust Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Those were real people talking about the Dust Bowl that happened through the Midwest,
right?
And they just put that in, like now it's almost like in what movie put? There was a movie that put, I think, comments that Bill Clinton made about aliens or something.
Mm-hmm.
They put that in one of these movies, so like make it look like that. You know, Bill Clinton was like making a speech about like aliens or something.
Armageddon, would we consider that one?
Armageddon's completely horrible. It's one of my favorite movies.
It is. It's terrible.
Deep Impact over Armageddon because Deep Impact has.
What about The Core?
The Core's okay, but you know, like it just doesn't like. So The Core may have like ideas,
mm-hmm.
but it's not. Like I think of that time, it's one of the underrated. Because there was a revival in the disaster movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Core is overlooked.
Right.
Definitely better than Volcano, Dante's Inferno. I think Hard Rain was like Hard Rain with Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman. Like that was like a flood movie. The revival of the Poseidon. Like there was a run.
Right.
Core is overlooked. Not as good as Armageddon and Independence Day. Okay, but Independence Day may be more science fiction than like. Look, Armageddon has some of those ideas,
mm-hmm.
but it doesn't. Like they're just in the beginning, and the movie's not about those ideas.
Right.
Okay. Same as Independence Day. Like it's about aliens, but it's really not about aliens. So
right.
like good science fiction like has that
the mix.
Like Minority Report is that it's like that concept through the entire movie.
Right.
Okay, where it all comes ahead. And I would put Minority, if we're making like a long list, Minority Report is on that list. I'm sorry.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
probably the best, right? Like just the best time skip movie.
Right.
That movie's so fucking good.
It is.
You know, especially when it should be unraveling.
See that has a great montage in it where he just keeps
dying.
But
even in that movie though,
the training montage in that's probably one of the best because it goes from he's just shit to like how is this guy?
No, I like it too. Like they keep doing his intro, like to the girl, like you know, like an intro gets different like every time. But that's when they get off the initial site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they start to understand like that there's a proximity to the like
Starship Troopers. Sorry.
Yeah, Starship's good. You know, like, look, Starship's a bad movie.
It is, but it's that one.
But the concept sticks through because, especially, they end that movie with like that news report, and all the cadets are super young because everyone else is dead.
Yep.
Like it's true to the idea, like through and through. So like Starship, and we're forgetting RoboCop.
Okay. Terminator.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
I'll leave Killer Clowns off of this list for credibility.
So, but even now, like we're missing ones, but we're still struggling to make a list of 20.
We're not struggling. I'm trucking along. I just have to think.
You're giving me bad movies.
I'm allowed to give bad movies that are good.
Matrix falls apart. Matrix, like,
look, I said it doesn't hold up.
How does the Matrix not hold up?
Because it just doesn't. When's the last time you tried to watch that movie?
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch it all the time.
It's not great.
What's not great about it?
How
does that
the mythos that were built and shit all over in the second and third one just kind of ruined that first one for me.
No, it doesn't.
To me, it does.
But it's all. But
I associate it too heavily with the crap that came after.
But here's a little bit of that. Okay. Everything that they set up in the first one is explained to its final.
Right.
In 2 and 3. Now you may. Yeah, and I'm kind of with it. Like, all right, so the presentation is off. Some of the additional like characters are off. The settings, the flow of those two movies. But at the end of the day, like it is like it's not only science fiction, but it's like philosophical fiction. Like it's more philosophy than anything, and it is all explained. Now, because of that, I think people miss what's happening, and it's a lot like Batman vs Superman. Like through the chaos of the arcs, you miss what's really happening because it's hard to follow.
Right.
Like it really is, you know. But I'll tell you, like I just watched Revolutions like a couple nights ago, and Revolutions, that movie wrapping up the way how they wrapped up that franchise is perfect. It's the best third movie wrap up or like ending of a trilogy. Like, okay, so Lord of the Rings was pre-written, okay, and they followed that very close to the books,
right?
But straight movie trilogy, third movie, third act, it's the best. There's nothing you can even put near it.
Next podcast.
Yeah, I know we have to, but dude, like I'll go.
We will look at the trilogy curse next week, guys.
Actually,
I'm writing it down now. I'll come back with a list.
The trilogy curse or the franchise fatigue, right? But yeah, all right. So we'll do more with the science fiction.
Yeah.
I have a list here. Maybe I'll create something as a downloadable for the list. But yeah, we did good. We gave ourselves an extra 12 minutes there.
Right on.
12, 13 minutes. So just signing off, saying goodbye.
We got a bum to beat with a bat. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week.
Go to AKAPAD.com. That's where you get updates on the podcast and the stuff on YouTube.
Everything else we're doing.
And yeah, like even the comic book.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're marching towards something on that.
Here. So,
some type
God
of like
willing.
Putting official stuff out.
Cool.
Because we need that to be official.
Yes, we do.
Because we have a lot invested.
Yeah.
In the comic.
Years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah, but good years.
Yeah. Not complaining.
It's not one of these things where, like this is not something unfinished in the drawer.
Right.
This is just something we're continuously developing.
Right.
Because
the active work never stops.
Because we realize we have lives.
Yes.
And we kind of maybe rather do that stuff than do the comic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'd love to get like a hard trade paperback out, and then just sell the rights to Fox so they turn it into a Saturday morning cartoon, and then just have fun.
Don't position yourself as a sellout. That never works.
Hey.
Like, yeah. But no, like there's all of that. So all of that it's on AKAPAD.com, and we're still doing stuff with you. We're still marching towards your YouTube segment or mini series, or we're going to do something cool with you.
Right.
And then I guess like maybe for us the focus, just because we're aggressive on getting good at this, is Dream Warriors.
Right.
We really want to push getting the technical down, getting the releases out more. But we're down to a few hours with the release.
Right.
So after this, like this is probably gonna go live by Sunday. It's Saturday. It's midday Saturday now. So I don't know. Like definitely making steps.
Right.
But everything, yeah. Like once we're over this hurdle, everything's gonna be focused on that comic book. And right now we'll just call it that comic book.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And all right, so that's it. We're signing off.
We're signing off.